Joycast. My name is Tamika Schilbe, and we are going to be choosing from 3 words today, and you're going to choose the one that jumps out at you the strongest. It's okay if you choose more than one. So the words are path, promise, or persistence. So today we're going to be talking about fears. So each of the messages are going to have something to do with our fears. And for a long time when I was teaching about fears, I was talking about them quite negatively, like it's either fear or love. Never listen to fear, always listen to love. But I guess a more mature way for me now of looking at that idea is that sometimes fear does point us in a direction, and sometimes fear is a way shower to see where we need to shine light, where we need to amplify something instead of pushing it away and ignoring it and saying this is all sunny and good. Quite often it can be beneficial to us to look at our fears a little closer. So if you chose the word path, your message is about your fears being your path. Your fears being what you need to actually go toward instead of push away from. So these aren't the types of fears that warn you of danger. This is the type of fear that persistently says to you, you're not good enough, you're going to fail, what's the point anyway, somebody else is doing this better than you. We want to simply acknowledge that that is the voice of fear speaking, and it has its place, but it does not make decisions about your life purpose, about your dreams, about your big goals. You don't want to let fear make those choices for you. So I want to share with you a story about how I made fear my path. I was in college and I was in my early 20s, and there was a group of women that I hung out with, and we were always together doing things. And one day in the cafeteria, I said to my friends at the table, who wants to go with me to my car to get something out of my car? One of the women looked at me and she said, "You can't do anything alone." She said that to me. It was kind of raw truth, but and I was startled by it, but I was like, wow, really? And I think at the time I was probably defensive. I probably said, yes, I can. And anyway, the parking lot was far away. I went out, and the whole walk, I remember thinking, like, wow, is there something to what she's saying? And I wanted to push it away, but I knew that it was such a bold statement that she made, and I knew at some level that there was some kind of truth to it. So I made that fear of mine of doing things alone my path, because I knew that if I faced the fear, if I felt the fear and did it anyway, that's actually a book by Susan Jeffers. That book changed my life, but not because I read it. It's a great example of a good book title. I never read the book, but I heard the title and I thought, yeah, feel it and go for it anyway. So if you got path, this is the message for you, is that you want to follow it. So the way that I followed my fear is that I started to do all kinds of things on my own, go to events on my own, really face my fears around being different places by myself. And then eventually I even decided to travel the world by myself. And each time I stepped out of that comfort zone and looked that fear of being alone in the eye, it disappeared. It really lost all its power. And so today I'm in a new place with that. But it was one of the practices that I had to go through, and it was a process. So I'm going to suggest this to you if you chose path, that maybe your fear is actually a way shower. You want to take one little step in the direction of your fear so that you can start to overcome it over time. If you chose promise, your message is about the future of your goals or dreams coming true. So let's say that you have fear about making a phone call, going to a job interview, taking a trip, investing in something or doing something or creating something, but you have these fears about the end result. So the message here in this one is that there is no end result promised. And I know that doesn't sound really great, but actually it is, because all it means is that if you take the brave step to speak your truth or do whatever it is that you're afraid to do, it's not actually the end result that's going to give you the joy and satisfaction that you seek. If it's something you know you want to do, you know you need to do, you know you dream of doing it, then it's the actual steps toward it that are going to give you what you need. They're going to be fulfilling in themselves, and you might not even see the results, but that doesn't mean that it isn't still the right path to follow, because you have to trust yourself. And what we want to do is not get too focused on the end result. So I'll give you an example of, for me, writing and sharing my writing is something that means a lot to me. But is there a guarantee that someone's going to like it? Absolutely not. There's no guarantee. But I want to do it enough, and I know that it's because it's therapy for me. I know I need to do it, so I don't do it for the promise. I don't do it for the end result. It's nice when something happens and people appreciate it. That's great. But I also know that everyone's different, and not everyone is going to appreciate it, and that's okay too. I have to be okay with that. But you see what I'm saying? It's the journey, not the destination. I know we've heard that 1,000 times, but it really is about that if you picked promise. So if you chose persistence, your message is about that persistent voice that's calling you to do the next thing, or the persistent voice of your callings, your dreams, and your goals. So again, I'll use an example from my own life of writing that it doesn't go away. If I let go of it for a few months, then right now at least, because it's what I'm doing right now, it comes back and it doesn't let go of me, and I continuously get impulses and urges and signs and signals that it's what I'm supposed to be doing. So think about that for what you're wanting to create or achieve or do or say. If it's a true calling or a true direction that you need to go in, it's going to be persistent. You're going to think about it. It's going to pop into your mind. You're going to see someone else doing what you wish you were doing. You're going to be reminded by the universe through often symbols even. And if it's persistent and it feels like a heart calling, then you've got to listen to it. So thank you, and if you like this video and if it worked for you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, and I will catch you next time. Until then, stay true to you. Geese.